So this next video looks at setting the map, and this is quite a simple thing, but we just need to again get ourselves into a new way of thinking. So a bit of out with the old and in with the new. Setting the map is using it to navigate. It is not reading the map. So we need to get away from the concept of that we need to read the place names, for example. And we need to hold that map so that we can always read the place names. Quite frankly, I don't really care what the place names are. So the way the maps are written, it's in a particular orientation so that the wording is written left to right, horizontally, and it gives the impression that that's where you need to hold the map as if it's a big broadsheet newspaper. So the top of that map will then indicate what's north. Well, at the end of the day, we can work that out in ways that I'll show you in this video. I want to be able to know what is ahead of me, what is coming up, and that is setting the map, or you might hear it referred to as orientating the map. So again, I alluded to this earlier on. We've lost half of our steps really in navigation these days because we just rely on the computer to do it for us, our sat nav. We need to reintroduce these stages, and I want to be able to then look at what is coming up on the map so I can predict what I'm likely to see, and I can make left or right decisions based on what I'm looking at on the map. And what do I mean by that? Let's have a look at how GPS works. So again, we do not need to be able to read place names. You want to hold the map with the destination ahead of you. And we barely even notice this when we're in our car or we're using a sat nav or whatever we happen to be doing. The map will rotate every time we go round a corner or a bend. So next time you're in the car, or if you decide to go for a little stroll around the block and just kind of set yourself a random destination, it might be the post box or something, and just see then how the map changes as you're walking around and you change corners or go around a bend. So this is just an example. This is for argument's sake, a Google Maps on your phone. And stood there is me. So I'm on Lucas Avenue, and I am going to get to this junction with Roundtree Avenue. And I want to potentially go to the Mayflower for some food. So what do I do? Well, I've got the map ahead of me. Where I am heading is at the top of that phone, so it makes logical sense. So as I walk there, turning left will take me away from where I want to go. Turning right will take me there. And it's mirrored there. So left is actually left and right is actually right. So what do I mean? If for example, I was going in the other direction, walking backwards, well, to me, that's a left turn, even though on the phone it's telling me to go right. And that's a right turn, even though the arrow's telling me to go left. It's confusing. If the map stays stationary, and I am walking down towards Link Avenue, left and right become inverted. So just have a think about that. Have a play with it on your phone, and you'll realise it makes no sense. So what does the map do? So let's have a look. If I'm walking and I want to get along Link Avenue and walk the long way round, then if the map rotates round so that the destination is towards the top of the phone, I know that I need to turn left, and right, if should I wanted to go that way, would be right. It's a bit of a strange concept. We will play with it outside, but ultimately all it's saying is if the destination is ahead of you, left will be left, right will be right. If you're looking at a map or the GPS with the screen where you're heading to the bottom of the screen, left and right become inverted. So how could we go about setting the map? Well, there's two ways, and the first one we'll look at is setting the map using the landscape. So we've started to look at a range of different maps, scales and so forth, and we've really introduced the concept of contours. So we're going to cover them again later on when we meet. but we're kind of getting the principle behind this is the way that we can represent a three-dimensional environment up and down on a two-dimensional piece of paper. So this is me. I'm stood here holding a map. Now I'm not holding it like it was a book. So these presumably you could imagine it's got place names written on it, the summit names, the peaks and so forth, the name of the river or the lake or what have you. I don't need to know that really. So I'm holding the map at an angle, and that's because I want to be able to align from my viewpoint that this contour here, this ring contour, and this ring contour over here matches, is in line with the summits themselves. So I can see them on the landscape. I can also add a third one to this. Just the more we can add, the more accurate we get. So I can add a third hill here. And I can see that this sticks out on a sort of promontory, and the water kind of goes back around behind this. And that's what we can see on the map. I can't see this bit, but that's fine. I can see this hill and I can identify it, and that the contours and the shape of it matches this map. So these three summits are aligned with the map from my viewpoint. And I can add a fourth. We've got this little stumpy hill, this little island hill in the middle of the water here, and I can see that very, very clearly. So there we have that there. So that's my fourth. From my vantage point, I can line up, I can see that contour, that top of that hill. As I take my eye along the map and off the map, I can then see it on the landscape, and it's in the same line of sight. So that's using the landscape to set the map, and it's brilliant. We can do this in good visibility. We can look for big hills, big valleys as well we can use. There's other features we can use, and we'll be practicing this a lot when we're out in the hills for 2 days. However, we can't always see. We may be in the absolute clag. We can't really see very far ahead of us. We might be on a sort of big Yorkshire Dales plateau kind of summit, and we can't really work out much in the distance. So there's another way we can do this, and this is using the compass. And this is the only time we're going to be using the compass needle. So let's have a look at me doing it out in the field. Okay, so we've looked at setting the map to the landscape. Now, the landscape I'm in, there isn't really much to actually to pinpoint to. So what we can do is just use the compass to orientate the map. And quite simply, all we do, doesn't matter where, we can just place the compass anywhere on the map. Now we know what's north because of the way the writing is. So all I need to do is twist the compass and the map so that the needle points north. So it's following these blue grid lines north. And I can confirm that just by shifting it along so it's covering one of the blue lines. And that really is the map set. So if I was going away behind myself from where I'm stood, I've got this map set. I'm not going to unset the map. I now walk around the map, and I can see that the path is leading off in the direction I want it to go.